Well, the answer to increasing state revenue is through job creation, and our governor is doing his part in terms of traveling worldwide and introducing various countries into the workforce that we currently have available, and all the resources Alabama has available in order to relocate businesses here. So jobs create the foundation for increased economic growth, happiness of the family, the wellness of the community, and of course it does increase the tax base, which ultimately some of the tax money can be used for different purposes in our government. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, no tax increases. I will be not want to increase any taxes for any reason. More revenue, the way we get more revenue is more jobs. If families have a job, have an income, they spend more money, and everybody gets more money. It's a pay raise for the government, it's a pay raise for families. So my number one goal will be to create jobs, economic development, whatever we can do to incentivize businesses, to bring in businesses to our area. Honda's been a great example, but there's a lot of other things that can do. The small businessman, we need to get the red tape out of the way to make it easier for families to start a business.
I think we have a great example in front of us when we look at what Ronald Reagan did in the early 80s. He decided to come in and as others would say, remove red tape, get out of the way, reduce taxation, and allow a stimulated growth in your economy. Bringing in jobs as we've done with Airbus, as we've done with Honda, Hyundai, and all these other manufacturers. Remington, great examples of how you create revenue. Because the more families you put to work in good paying jobs where they're middle class people, they're out there spending money, they're generating taxes, and then those taxes turn around, then you're able to pave roads, you're able to build better schools, you're able to put technologies into the schools, so it's all really trickled down. I think another gentleman back in the 80s called that voodoo economics, but I think there's a lot to be learned from what Reagan's model was. If you stimulate the economy and you allow it to grow and get out of the way, then you actually have tax revenues to do the business of the people and do what you're supposed to do as a government, not things you're not supposed to do.
Well, this is interesting, and I've been thinking about this question a lot since the race started. And I view the role of the next senator from District 17 as a leader on this issue. I think that a threat that faces District 17 is, the thing that hurt us quickest would be if fuel prices went through the roof, because a lot of people in District 17 are blue-collar folks that live out in southern Blount County, North Jefferson. They commute into Birmingham, like I did on 79 today. And we should be taking the lead. The way we did in the car industry, we should be doing that same thing with compressed natural gas. We should be getting ready. What Trustful Municipality has already done is they converted their fleet over to compressed natural gas. They put in a station there at the Chevron on Deerfoot. And their fuel prices are substantially lower. Now you've got the initial conversion cost, but what do we have in District 17? We got a lot of great blue collar. We got mechanics that work at Thompson Tractor, Dunn Construction. Those guys are ready to take this opportunity. So if we get that, that could be the next automotive boom for Alabama. We could lead on that, and it would be.
I agree with everything that the others have said, especially in regard to no new taxes and job creation. But there's some common sense things that can be done. When I was in the legislature before, we were very lenient on out-of-state tuition, for example, as far as the requirements of that. We had a lot of folks from out of state coming in and getting a great education in Alabama and then leaving, in essence getting their education on the backs of Alabama taxpayers. At that time, if we simply put into place a reciprocal agreement whereby we charged the same out-of-state rate that they charged us. For example, if Florida charged us 3 times their in-state rate, we charged Florida 3 times our in-state rate. Back in those days, it was probably about $300 or $400 million instantly, and I don't think anything's really changed since then. So I think that's just one little thing that you can do to enhance the education budget. There's probably half a dozen more just like that. Aside from creating jobs, I'm all for jobs and I'm all against any new taxes.
So as a coal miner, the thing we definitely need to do is protect and expand our energy sector. Alabama has unlimited economic potential in the natural resources, whether it's coal, oil, and natural gas. And emerging technologies have allowed, like in this northwest Alabama shoals area, there's potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of barrels of oil and shale gas in the shoals. How do we tap that? We have to be responsible. we have to have a trained workforce, and we also have to limit our taxation. Keeping tax base, or keeping the tax rates low, will allow for more incentives for companies to come in. Coupled with an educated and skilled workforce, we're on to something big in Alabama.
When President Ford gave me an appointment to go to West Point, I received a superb engineering background, education background, and I served for the next 6 years in the Army as a combat engineer. Built roads, built runways, learned how to do things with construction. The point that brings to us is that there are 9 interchanges on I-65 in the Senate District, and there's another whole group of interchanges being created on the Northern Bypass. Each of those interchanges has a wonderful opportunity to be developed into a whole host of jobs that could be created for the local people. Not just we lost good jobs at the beginning of this economic recession back in 2009. They're being replaced by MAC jobs, jobs that people really can't hold and earn a living. The kind of jobs we can develop at these interchanges with the proper infrastructure planning and the proper resource allocation are really good jobs where people can make a living and raise a family, and that's what I want to do in the Senate District.